back to the way we used to do things. How's the audio now? Testing, testing. How's the audio now? Is it any better? Hello? Oh, man, this is some bullshit right here. I'm going to throw this damn thing away. Ah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, well, it's good to know it's good. Call the tech. Anyway, what I was saying was, um, so I had lost, let's see, so I'm 352 pounds, right? 355.2 pounds. 355.2 pounds. And I start my, now that my dog is doing a little bit better, I start my, Rodney Anderson says it's still low, but everybody else says it's doing great. So I'll do some testing so I can get it together. So anyway, now that my dog is doing a little bit better, we're going to get back into the get skinny. But what I wanted to talk to you guys today about, first of all, let's do a whole new take. What I want to talk to you guys today about is prospect fail. Prospect fail. And the prospect fail is, well, I got to give myself a few more minutes. Sorry about that. Prospect fail is when you as a prospect fail to meet the expectations of the MC. Not because what they're asking you to do is against your morals and principles as a man, but rather because you were a sorry ass and you were unable to or unwilling to stand up to those expectations. Not necessarily as a fault of the MC, but a prospect fail is the fault of your own. I'll give you a story. Those of you who know me for a long time know that it took an inordinate amount of time for me to cross over into the Black Sabbath Nation from prospect to brother. I actually prospected somewhere near 5 years long. Now, some of my brothers say it was only 3 years. Some of them say it was 5. There's somewhat of a, it was also mystifying to me. I remember it as 5 years. It could have been 3.5 or 4, but it was a long damn time. And part of that was because of some significant fails on my part. Well, I'll never forget the time we had this annual party. And there were perhaps 10,000 bikers there at this party that the Black Sabbath threw. In San Diego, we threw the party known as the first run of the year. Back in 1974, when we got started, when the association or the council or whatever you want to call it allowed us in to the Southern California motorcycle set, we were the new kids on the block. And so the only date on the calendar that they would let us have was February, near Valentine's Day, like the most screwy holiday ever. It was a 3-day holiday. Some weeks, I think that was President's Day or something. And some years it was, it fell right on Valentine's Day, which means that people didn't want to go because they had to, be with the wifey. So this was the worst calendar date you could have. And because we were the new kids on the block, that's the date they gave us. But the way it was back then is, good afternoon from the UK, Mr. Maxwell. So, but the way that it used to go down is San Diego only had one motorcycle club on the Black Biker set. And that motorcycle club, I say motorcycle club house, and that motorcycle clubhouse belonged to the Black Sabbath. We had the only motorcycle clubhouse for probably 30 years or more, 35 years. We had the only motorcycle clubhouse in San Diego. Every now and then, clubs would get clubhouses, but San Diego was very tough on motorcycle clubs, so it was hard to keep a clubhouse. The Black Sabbath, some kind of way, got grandfathered in. And when they grandfathered us in, the police department stopped trying to shut us down. So, all the other motorcycle clubhouses were in Los Angeles. So if you wanted to ride, you would leave from San Diego and ride up to Los Angeles and visit clubhouses. And there were so many up there. But there was only one in San Diego. And what would happen was all those Los Angeles clubs would ride to Los Angeles and Orange County and all that. And by the end of the year, they were just sick of it. They wanted to get out of town. So the first run of the year during raining season, when everything was being rained the hell out and everything was cold, because Los Angeles is hot, but San Diego is cool. It can be really cold in the winter. It's not Michigan or anything, but it's cold for California. So everybody would have, island fever, rock fever. They want to get out of LA, and they would come down to the first run of the year. So what was given to us as a very big negative turned into a huge positive, because all the clubs would come down, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, to the Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club's first run of the year. So, with all these thousands of guests coming, it was important, it was inherent for us to be on our A game. So, I'll never forget when Richie Rich, and back then there was the Black Sabbath Wrecking Crew, all these really strong, cool guys that were mentors to me. My assignment was to pull the beers up when the people were buying the beers, and my assignment was to get them out of we had big, huge 50-gallon trash cans full of ice. And the first time I stuck my hand in that 40-degree ice, man, I was like, oh my God, that thing is cold. So, we had thousands of people that wanted beers. So after about an hour and a half of this, my hands were like icicles. Roofer said, till death has to disagree with San Diego being cold in the wintertime. Roofer till death. Yeah, it's not cold, but it was cool if you lived in San Diego. It would get down to 40 degrees, man. With the rain, and you're riding 40-degree rain, that can be considered cold by some wussies. So in any event, after about an hour and a half of me dipping my hands in this thing trying to pick up these beers, they wouldn't even work anymore. No, I've been to the UK, and it is cold there all the damn time, especially in London. It's ridiculous. So I was kind of looking for like some respite, like, can someone relieve me here so I can warm up my hands? And Richie Rich, who was a full patch member, who was also sticking his hands in the cold, he got angry with me. And he was like, dude, you're slowing up the line. And it got to the point, and then these people wanted a certain kind of beer. I think it was Michelob or something like that, Schlitz malt liquor, something back in the day. And that happened to be at the damn bottom of the barrel. So I started whining and complaining so much that Richie Rich had me pulled and put on a different detail. That detail was making sure that the heads were clean. So now here I am, a young submarine sailor, And I have to clean heads all the damn time in the Navy. What's up, Muggsy from Zinc City MC? Braveheart is doing well. There's going to be a Braveheart, another Braveheart video up today. Hey, what part of OK? Hey, Ben, what part of OK? I don't understand that, Raz. Ask me again. So, he assigned me on the head detail to clean the heads. And these people were in there throwing up in the head and all this stuff, and I was just like, man, I don't even want to do this. I do this every day in the Navy. This is ridiculous. So I started half-assing on that job. So now the guy that calls Richie Rich and says, hey man, Dragon is our prospect, my prospect number is doing a lousy job here. So then Richie Rich is pissed off and he puts me in the parking lot. So I go out to the parking lot, and all I got to do is direct traffic and do security. But oh no, instead, I wanted to talk to the pretty girls that were coming by. So, talking to the pretty girls, not paying attention to what I was doing, and a car hit a motorcycle. So that was a problem, and that was a problem that was a fault of my own. These very serious prospect fails that happened. Later on that year, it came time for my vote to be voted in as a prospect. And all these guys could talk about was all the times I had failed my duties. Needless to say, Black Dragon didn't get to become Black Dragon on that vote. And it was a long time afterwards because of my prospect fails. What I want to tell you guys is this. If you don't want to be in this thing, move the hell on. If your hands are too cold, then maybe you don't want to support the MC. Some things you have to gut out and tough out. When your job is to watch the traffic, watch the damn traffic. Your job is to keep people safe. Keep people safe. As a prospect, you work for the MC. You don't chase women. You don't have a girl in the back. You're not to be seen. We had a prospect the other day, Papa Wheelie, or not Papa Wheelie, but I think he was the president of one of the chapters made a move. The prospect thought that meant let's race. He had a big bad bike and he just took off out the pack. And the president got him, listen, you're a prospect. You don't be passing up all these offers and stuff. You don't ever leave the pack. The prospect is to be seen, not to be heard. The prospect is to be useful. The prospect is to give of himself in every way that he can to protect the image, the vitality, and the direction of the MC. It's good to talk to you, Doc Nut. Much love and respect for you, sir. And if the prospect doesn't want to do that, then the prospect doesn't want to prospect, or the prospect wants to continually prospect for the next 5 years. And we don't mind watching you stumble and tumble and stumble and tumble until you get it right. A prospect fail is when you fail as a prospect to stand up to the duties assigned to you. I promise you, we've all done them. We've all washed bikes. We've all put our hands in the cold water. We've all cleaned toilets. We've all cleaned vomit. We've all stood watching the parking lot. We've all been out in the parking lot while everybody was partying and having a good time. We've all slept out and guarded the bikes while the brothers were up in the air conditioning cooled room. So, don't fail as a prospect. I agree that's why he comes down south to visit instead of me riding up that way. I don't know. Who are you guys talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. I hate jinx like cops. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. So anyway, earning the patch is something that can be done in a short amount of time, or it can take a long amount of time. Don't fail as a prospect. Make every single solitary prospect duty assigned to you a success. Let it be prospect successes rather than prospect fails. Well, that's my time. Ran a little bit over. Sorry for the technical stuff. Some days this thing works and some days it doesn't. I think I'll test it before I don't know. I'm still learning the technology. I appreciate you all. Listen, for my latest articles, there is a link to eZine. I've been writing on eZine since 2011. I write all kinds of articles that talk about this life, and it's something that you can read for free. It's not like my books. You don't have to pay for it. My latest article was, I think, what was it? Can a founder be kicked out of the club? I think it was my latest article. So for my articles, go to eZine.com. If you go to the About section up there, it'll have the link to my latest magazine articles. Or if you, it'll also be included in the details section of this page. Romania Dual Sport, it's always good to hear from you and talk to you. I know it's probably nighttime over there. Have a great evening. The rest of you all, thanks for tuning in. Remember, it's not about it's not about me, but rather it's about we. Stop saying I, mine, me, and start saying we. Looking out for one another. And those of you who are overweight like me, let's lose some weight together. Thank you for your love and respect and helping me out with my dog, for your prayers and good wishes. Thank you for tuning in, and get skinny.